Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to another week. Quick reminder, if you do have a question, start your message with the letter Q, otherwise it'll get lost in the chat. Otherwise, nice to see where you all are coming from. Always fun to see. It looks like I did move the chats up in addition to moving the TV up. I should probably switch that back around. Anyway, it's another week. It is... Yeah, I don't even know what's going on, but oh, K9 Striker has a question about my map. Can only find videos from 2020 and 2021 where you discuss the mapping app you used during the stream countdown. The I'm from app is no more. Are you still using the one on your GitHub? Oh, bummer. Yeah, that's too bad he stopped doing that. So the easiest one you can use now is called H2R Graphics. It doesn't work the same way as mine, but it's close. It does mean you have to get API keys from Google, which is kind of annoying, but that's just how it goes. I am not using the one on my GitHub, but the one I am using is very similar to the one on the GitHub. I decided that was not worth like continuing to trying to package up for other people because it's just like there's a lot of moving parts. H2R Graphics is much easier if you want that kind of thing. NX3D is in the house from Cyprus. Probably better weather than here. It's been rainy today, which is weird because yesterday it was like 80. Sunny and warm. Got a chance to do some sanding on that table yesterday, and now this morning it's pouring rain and gray and dark. Just how it goes, I guess, in the fall here. Yeah, I, as expected, didn't do anything this week with any of the gear except one thing I was playing around with, which I don't think I want to spoil the fun until it's ready to go. But played around with a little bit of vibe coding yesterday, which was actually kind of fun. I don't know if you can call it vibe coding. I was using VS Code and asking the AI to write and then fix some small little functions. A lot of testing and redoing to make it work, but it's getting there. But this week I will be going to Vegas, and then on Saturday I did in fact put up on the channel the members only live stream where I'm going to catch up on my accounting for this channel, because I have not done that since I filed taxes in April, which is now 5 months ago. That's how numbers work. Yes. And actually, it was probably 6 months ago because I was doing it before the tax deadline. Amazing. Anyway, 6 months of transactions to catch up on. So you'll get to see where all the money comes from and where it all goes to. And hopefully I have some left. And yeah, that'll be fun. Aaron Abernathy says, "What's up from Belfast? Just picked up a RØDECaster video yesterday. Watched all your videos on it last night." Awesome. I realized I have a lot of videos about that, which is kind of fun. Hopefully they were helpful. Hopefully they got you off to a good start on that. TVJ says, "I'm looking forward to the server tour if you're doing that today." I could do that because I do not have a better plan for what to do today. So if you don't start asking questions, we're going to go on a little tour soon. The deal is, so Saturday, members only live stream for accounting. Sunday, regular show. We'll see if it's actually a regular show or not, because on Monday I need to spend the entire day cleaning out the closet, emptying the closet. The closet in this you've seen it in a couple of studio tours before. The closet here is the combo where the electrical panel is, server closet, water heater room, / now also extra storage. And it is, there's a lot of stuff in there, and there needs to be nothing except the water heater, because on Tuesday, fingers crossed, I mean, this is scheduled, so it's on the calendar. Fingers crossed it actually happens. The power company is going to come and hook up power. That means they're going to take down the power that's feeding this building that I am in right now. They're going to remove that power line from the street, connect the new power to the new location where all the 5 meters are. And my electrician has to come on the same day so that he can run a new line into the breaker panel in this room to feed this building power from the new meter. And if this sounds like a lot of moving parts, it is. It is a it's a lot. And yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of work to empty that out, because basically he's gonna have to like cut open the ceiling, and it's gonna be a giant mess of drywall. I should probably, I don't know if I want to add more logistics to this, but the drywall in this whole garage, the drywall was never finished. They just put the drywall up and they never even did mud, which I think is not actually allowed. You shouldn't actually look at a final inspection, as far as I am aware, without having the mud on, because it's like part of the fireproofing layer. Anyway, they did that ages ago, 2008 actually is when this was built. And I never bothered like do anything about it, because I did finish this room. Obviously you can see actual walls on here, so this all got done, but I didn't do the other half because that's where everything that was in here was living while this was being done. Anyway, now that server closet's can be empty, I'm like, should I have someone come and do drywall on the next day? Kind of considering it. It does just add more complication to the scheduling, so yeah. Anyway, hi. I see a bunch of questions have been piling up in the chat. Fantastic. IT never gets old, says I feel another device sale coming on. Very likely, yes. I need to get some stuff out of here and probably just admit that I'm never going to actually make any edited videos again and just do live streams. Anyway. Okay, what's going on in the chat? Bruce says, when we connected the ATEM Extreme not on to HDMI 1 and 2 from the bidirectional converters that was on, a fan on the Extreme would spin up, but when unplugging just one input, the fan would quit. It wouldn't matter which input you unplugged. Is this normal? You mean that ATEM Extreme is not powered on? Is it pulling power from the HDMI port? That sounds dangerous. Interesting. I have never actually tried that myself. Has anybody else tried that? Plugging in a bidirectional converter, which is a powered box, into an unpowered ATEM. That sounds very strange. Yeah. I have not tried that. Yes, unpowered. Okay. That sounds a little scary. I don't know what's going on there. Aaron says, great help, thanks. Help me get my head around the conceptual changes from the ATEM Mini. Great. Very glad to hear it. I really like the scenes in the RØDECaster to include an option to choose what outputs from the HDMI ports. Plenty of times at conferences I need to play back video to projectors between talks. I love that idea. That is a really good idea. The scenes should also include output routing. That's a good idea. I will suggest that in the Discord that I'm in for the Rode beta. But in the meantime, you can do it with Companion. So if you get Companion set up, then and you're switching your entire show on with Companion, you can make a Companion button that will do the two things. It'll change the scene and change the output. But that is a great idea for the scene setting. Paper Jace. Do you know of any open source software that I could host on my Raspberry Pi that could ingest HEVC video via SRT? Thanks in advance. It's been a while since I've looked at this. I don't remember if HEVC is supported on this, but the Nginx software that it's like a plugin for Nginx. Nginx SRT module is what it's called. Is how you would at least be able to get an SRT feed into the Raspberry Pi. I don't know about HEVC decoding or what you would do with it after that. The trick I was using, I'll drop a link to that project. The trick that I was using a long time ago for the video, which was before the streaming bridge came out, was is a software that no longer exists on the Raspberry Pi, unfortunately. So it's not quite as, if you want HDMI out from the Pi, it's a little bit, I don't like it as much anymore, sadly. Andre says, I have also seen in the past where the bidirectional converter would bleed power, especially if you use a power delivery adapter to power it. Strange but possible. That's super weird. IT Navigate Soul says, where does the solar fit into that? So it is related. So the solar panels are up on the roof now. They are installed and wired, and I did get the final permit for the solar panels. However, they don't do anything right now because we don't have power to the meter. So they're just sitting there. Sadly, power is going nowhere, and can't really do anything until we get the actual meter hooked up, and then they will be backfeeding the grid. So, yeah, once on Tuesday next week, theoretically, the solar panels will be actually operational, which is awesome. And then I need to get all the monitoring clamps hooked up so I can actually see what it's doing. What are you doing? Says, seen many new names over the past couple of months. How long has it been since you show people how to search your live streams? Great point. Let's take a little detour. If you go to my website, aaronbk.tv, there's a couple ways you can search the live streams. I will say I have been not as good about adding timestamps back to the streams lately, so sadly the chapter search doesn't work as well anymore. But if you click on the live stream Q&A, which also I always put a link to this for this episode in the description, you can search through the questions that I have clicked on during the stream, and you can search through these. So if you want to search for like RØDECaster and see what questions people have asked about this, then this will give you a list of like, here's today's. There's no timestamp on it because it doesn't know about the time yet, but it will link to the timestamp where I clicked on that during the stream and talked about it. So this is probably the best way to search right now, and you can see what other questions people have asked about whatever you're looking for, and then click to that, and it'll jump you right to that part of the stream. And this goes back as almost to the beginning of the live streams. Like you can see, this is a 2021 question, and that's probably the most helpful. The other one you can search is links from the chat, which is anytime I drop a link into the live stream, it will index it here. So again, like all the times I've mentioned H2R graphics, you can jump right to the time where they appear in the streams, or all these different links, and you can see all the different times I've talked about it, which is kind of fun. But yeah, that question search is probably the most helpful. And I do always, now since I post the streams automatically, there's always a link to this episode's question index in the description of this video. Thanks for the companion suggestion. I'll look into that. Does companion only work over IP, or would it address the RØDECaster video over USB? No, it only works on the network. So it expects to be able to find the RØDECaster video on the network. It would work over Wi-Fi or wired, but of course it's going to be more reliable wired. Mike says, how powerful of a PoE switch is really needed for one tail 2 and 2 tail errors? My switch is 65 watts, and I still had random cameras turning black while streaming. That's a good question. There should be some information on that on the tail 2, on the device itself. I don't know if the specs are on the website for that, but let's see if we can find it. It should tell you, power requirements. Let's see if I can find it here. Tech specs. Battery. Nope. You might find it on, you might find little tiny print somewhere. Oh wait, power input, Maximum supported input power 30 watts. It wants 5 volt 2 amp over USB-C. I can never remember which the AF and AT are, but that has to do with the PoE. So this says PoE plus, which is the other clue. So it sounds like if it is PoE plus, I don't know what switch you have. You said you have a 65 watt switch. I can't remember the math on that. The seems like that might be if your switch has any kind of management tools for like looking at the power usage of it, that would be really helpful. My Unify switches do that, so I can go into the it's really handy. I can go into any of the switches. Let's see what's a good one. There's a switch that is powering a couple of exterior cameras, and or like the so like this one is showing me that there's 46 watts available and it's using 12. So really handy feature to be able to see the PoE usage of the individual cameras. Bird Feeder Network Livestream. Do you think the YoloBox Ultra is a good idea or extreme? Really depends on what you're doing with it. So the Extreme is more powerful CPU than the Ultra, but the bigger difference is, of course, the number of inputs and the 4K capability. It's a lot bigger. So are you looking for more portable, or do you need the extra features? Also, there's the differences. There's a lot of differences between the YoloBox and the RØDECaster, the ATEM, and the Magewell Director Mini, and all the other ones. So depending on what you're actually trying to do, you may want to look around for like what's going to actually be the best workflow. YoloBox is great for like you're going to set it up, do a show, tear down, and you want that to work easily without a lot of extra gear. But if it's like a more permanent installation, I probably wouldn't actually recommend the YoloBox because it's well, they did finally add saving settings when you quit now, so that helps a ton. But it's still like I feel like there's better options for like a more permanent installation. So just some things to think about. Did Rode ever fix the lack of XML metadata that accompanies the ISO file? I don't think they've added. It's not really fixing it. I don't think they ever have. They've never had an XML metadata file that does like the live cuts, and I haven't seen that in the latest updates. DJ Mike says, on wired and wireless, my RØDECaster video times out in 30 seconds since the update. That's bad. You should write to their support and let them know, because that should definitely not be happening. K9's Figure says, can you explain how your countdown timer works? The countdown clock itself, is it a rendered timer running into your switcher, downstream key, upstream hyperdeck, OBS? Rendered ProRes 10-minute timer is over 1 gig. Yeah, so I was doing a video file ProRes with Alpha Channel for a long time and played it back from a hyperdeck, all that good stuff. And it works, but the files are huge, but also like put on an SD card and whatever, right? Nobody cares. It's a good option. That's actually what I had running for Lily's show as well on a hyperdeck, where I also have had companion buttons to say like start this timer from 5 minutes left or start it from 4 minutes left, and it would like skip to that part of that time code in the video. It does work well. It is obviously very stable since it is playing back a video file. What I ended up doing was, since I started moving more of the graphics into a web page, like the chats and other stuff is like happening on a web page, I now have OBS running on this computer, and it's a black screen because there's no chats on the screen right now, but OBS is running here, and this is where the chats appear, but that same web page is also my countdown timer. So maybe if I mute the sound, I can start the timer. So I can just go into my Stream Deck and say like start the timer from 1 minute. And this is a web page, so it's a little bit of JavaScript and CSS. CSS animation does a little pulsing thing, and it also the countdown music is part of this. So the countdown music is in the web page, and it also will like start the file from the right spot back, so that it ends. But you can tell if you pay attention to the beginning of the show very carefully, you can tell that it's not perfect because like the half second it takes to like load the audio file when I click the button is enough to make it off sync when like the music doesn't always end at the right time when it hits 0. I should probably try to tweak that, fix that. I haven't really looked into it much. Bothers me a little bit. And like that would never happen with a video playback from a hyperdeck, right? So you can see the when that hits, you can see the music is gonna die down. So that is how it works now. It is just some JavaScript. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Speaking of graphics and sound, that is also coming from that webpage. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Seems like XML output of cuts on RØDECaster would be low-hanging fruit, but what type of XML would they create? Would it be Resolve, Final Cut Pro, or Premiere? Yeah, that is a good question. They also have no idea what the relationship is like between Rode and Blackmagic now that the Rode have started playing in their sandpit. I also have no idea what that relationship is like. Yeah. It does seem like it would be pretty low-hanging fruit, though, to create an XML file. And a lot of the, I can't remember the exact combos, but a lot of the video editors can load each other's formats. So why are people talking about XML? EDL files aren't XML. Some of them are. So like the one that the ATEM makes is, do I have one here? I don't know if I do. I can make one. Yeah, the show is streaming from the ATEM SDI, so I can go record an ISO file really quick and we can see. Let's go pull that up. I think I even have a handy USB cable hanging out that I was using for something. And I can pop in a drive and we can see what this is. So this is the one on, make sure I'm not going to show a stream key. Okay. ISO record onto this drive. Okay, it's going, and then I'm going to do a couple of cuts. And you're seeing that this cut live because this is the actual ATEM that is streaming. We can go to color bars. We can go, that's good enough. Okay, stop that. And then pop this out and see what it looks like. If I can find another USB cable. Nope. Where'd they all go? I'm sure there's lots of other formats that are not XML too, but yeah, like the actual EDL format is the it's got like, it's just like line by line text, timestamps and text. That's what I use for if you export chapter markers out of Resolve, you can, or timeline timestamps that you can use for chapter markers. That's that format. But let's see what the ATEM did with that. Here is the drive. So DaVinci Resolve project, but I'm pretty sure that this is actually, oh, it's not XML, it's JSON actually. I didn't realize that. Wow. These are the cuts I just did, aren't they? Huh. 5 must be the color bars. I didn't realize DaVinci Resolve projects were JSON files. Fascinating. Would any of those web page graphics work without an internet connection? Say you're recording and live switching a presentation or podcast in a location without internet. You would need to have a web server locally. So mine are running on a remote server, but it would be very easy to also run that on a Raspberry Pi, for example. That's just a local web server. So it's not like it takes a lot of server power to run that at all. Like most of the work is being done actually all the work is being done in the browser, except the actual polling of the YouTube API. But if you're doing local graphics generation that's not about remote data like YouTube chats, then totally would work fine locally, which is basically actually what H2R graphics is. So I mentioned that at the beginning with the map, which obviously needs an internet connection, but all the other stuff in that, like banners and tickers and countdowns and stuff, it is basically a little web server and gives you a web page output that you can load in, and it works totally offline. Tech Condo, hello. You check Open Media Transport, open source equivalent to NDI. I believe this is really valuable for the community. I have not actually played with it yet. I remember seeing it a couple weeks ago, but I've not actually played around with it yet. It does seem very interesting. I agree. Speaking of web graphics, have you tested the web graphics in the OC GoStream? Barely, but we can take a look if you want. I should be able to spin that up. Let's hop over and swap mics and go over to the shelf, the lab. And load it in the GoStream. Okay. Oh, and I also need my TV to show me the what I'm doing. And let's bring the chats with me so I can see what's going on in the chats. Yeah. Just turn this on. And then we'll give it a second to boot up. Should be able to do something with this. Okay, there, it's on, there it goes. So the, this is the multi-view of the GoStream. So there are, if you go into the menu, you can, where is it? No, I forget where it is. Maybe inputs. It's actually a little bit easier to do this from the desktop software. Maybe I should do that first. This one is the Duet 8 ISO. Oops, I don't have my hide chat button on that interface. Yeah, I'm actually gonna do this on the computer because it's way easier to do on the computer. So if I go to GoStream software control, okay. So many inputs and outputs, SRT, RTMP, 4 ports, or all 8. Really, they really did a lot. Okay, where is the web graphics? Oh my gosh, and now I forget where it is. Downstream key. Completely forgotten where it goes. There it is. It's in the media player section. Oh, and I already had it loaded. So the it is using the URL for my web graphics. So when I show chats, it should show up. So media player 2 is set to browser. Looks like media player 1 does not support that. So media player 2 gives you the browser option. So if I go and set up a downstream key, with the fill source of media player 2, then we don't need to mask it. So key type, oh, which one is this? Key type, downstream key, there we go. Downstream key 1 is set to media player 2. So I can turn that on and off with this button. And with that enabled, we should be able to try this out. So if I go back over to here, we should see, oh, someone did the cheers. Channel members get a special web interface where you can make animations happen on the stream. And that is working. So we're actually seeing it on, you probably saw it twice, right? You probably saw it once over the whole stream, which was the ATEM overlay, but you also should have seen it on the inside box. Let me turn it off on the ATEM, actually, and then we can see the difference. Oops, that's the wrong one. Constellation. So I'm going to turn my main key off on the show. So this comment is being rendered and the spinner are being rendered on the GoStream, and you can see it in the multi-view now on preview and in program, which is pretty cool. New idea, an arm clamp to the shelf with a magnetic plate. Yeah, I think that would be helpful. That would be better than setting it on top of one of the other switchers. You can see the, if I zoom this out, you'll see the iPad placement. Yes. I also need a hide button. Do web browser sources work in the media player of the standard Duet as well? I haven't tested that. I don't remember if they added that to the standard Duet. I think they did. But yeah, this is great. This is my regular web graphics. It does look like it's not using the alpha channel though. It looks like it is keying it out. So if we go to the downstream keys settings, oh, maybe if I change this. Ah, there it goes. Now it's using the alpha channel with pre-multiplied key on. So with it off, then if I set the clip differently, you'll see it like chooses the black point of the browser to make transparent, which is not great. So if instead you go to pre-multiplied key on, now it's actually using the alpha channel to do the proper transparency. Is the black chat more transparent than on the ATEM? Yeah, because it was set to Luma key with just looking at the one color, but now it's doing a proper key with transparency. So that's pretty cool. And I can turn it on and off with a button on here. That's the downstream key button. Yeah, so it's great. It looks accurate. I see like the CSS animations are working for the little like shiny thing going across the member banner. The font looks correct. I didn't have to do any fiddling with sizes of things to make it work. This is just the same one that is being loaded into OBS normally. Very cool. DaVinci Girl says, I like this web world and I run 4 servers just for the DaVinci Resolve audio group. It'll be fine if you bring it to the public, so a dedicated server in the center is not a real problem. Main thing is the Blackmagic Cloud is too expensive and I would not like to waste much time in their cloud. Yeah. Speaking of, I need to cancel this is why I need to do my accounting so I know what memberships I'm currently paying for that I don't need to. Should we do a little tour of the server room? Oops, ATEM key, thank you. The bang for the buck on the OC switchers are really high. I agree. 100% agree. It is kind of impressive how much that little box can do. Okay, where's my phone? Ready to see a giant mess? It's kind of terrible in here. Someday it'll be clean. I don't know when that will be. Mike says, I want to see the temp chart again for the server room. Oh yeah, so I don't remember if I actually mentioned this other than like the first week, but I swapped out the water heater with a heat pump water heater. And the heat pump water heater, instead of generating heat with electricity, it moves heat from the room into the water. And the room is also my server room where there is naturally a lot of heat. So the fun thing has been to watch the temperature in that server room ever since I got the heater installed. And so I have a fan in there running 24/7 basically because it's there's a lot of heat generated by the servers. But when I got the heat pump in there, I was like, I don't want to be wasting the cold air, blowing the cold air out. So I automated that to switch on and off. So here's the graph of what happens. This is the outside temperature, is this blue line. The laundry room is the room adjacent to the closet, and then the closet itself, which has a door, is this orange line. And you can see it'll like pretty normally hover around 95. It'll get up to 100 in the summer when it's warmer outside. But as soon as the water heater kicks in, because I took a shower this morning, actually that looks like it was before the shower. As soon as the heat pump kicks in, the temperature starts dropping quickly. And this was a more dramatic one yesterday morning, from 91 down to 75, which is 15 degrees of a drop. And then it slowly comes back up. So this is graphing the delta, the change in the temperature, and you can see this spike down when the heat pump kicks in. So I made it watch for this spike and turn off the fan while the temperature is dropping, so that I'm not blowing out the cold air. And then as soon as it starts raising up again, it'll kick in the fan. So it's working very well. We can look at a longer period of time. Let's go back for the whole month. So this is I don't know why the data. I guess I'm only retaining 2 weeks of data. I thought I was retaining more data than that. But if we go back to, let's go back to zoom in on that. So yeah, you can see it's extremely effective. As soon as the water heater kicks in, boom, temperature drops, and then it slowly inches back up. This was probably one of the really hot days on the 13th. And sometimes now it doesn't even get above 95 in there, which is great. So very cool. I don't know why more people don't have heat pump water heaters. I guess if you don't have a naturally warm room, you may not want to be chilling your house in the winter, but it's perfect for this situation. Let Your Nerd Be Heard says, I do like Blackmagic Cloud for editing Resolve. For what you get, it's pretty cheap and works great when working with an editor. Yeah, I mean, that's a really great workflow, and I've been paying like a $5 a month for a project on there to get some space for working on videos, and then I have not sent any videos to anybody else to edit in months, so I really should stop paying for that. DaVinci Girl says there's no German or Romanian subtitles in your stream, so I have to review your answer later. My English is just 10 words, not more. Do you use a translator to post questions? Because they seem to make sense. That's great. Yeah, I guess I don't do live translations of the subtitles yet. Or no, they do. I'm streaming in ultra low latency, which doesn't support auto subtitles. Maybe I should change that, but it is kind of fun to be more real time with everyone. Okay, let's go take a look at that closet that I just showed you the graph from. I'm going to use the Rode Capture app, and the RØDECaster app will publish an SRT feed or an NDI feed on the network, and then I can pick up that NDI feed from the RØDECaster is not on, but from the Magewell Pro Convert. So that's what we're going to be looking at here, and you're going to see the giant mess of that is the studio. I wonder if you can create an AI bot that would watch the stream and translate in real time. I mean, YouTube does do that. I just don't have it set to normal latency where it has the time to do that. Okay, where are we going to start? Start at the desk. You can see my little phone projects. Oh, I forgot about this. This was what was printing last week. So, oops, wow. What happened to the video? I guess it didn't like my super motion there. This is what was printing last week that was making all the noise. It is a little bracket. It actually goes this way. It's a little bracket for a piece of wood to sit on top, and then this goes over this rod, and it'll make a little shelf when it's sitting on in the room. It doesn't make a lot of sense looking at it like that, but trust me. Okay, we're gonna go. I guess I'm gonna bring the iPad too, so I can see what's going on in the chat, and you can tell me if everything's falling apart. Past the pile of gear I need to review, and into the closet. And the motion sensor light should turn on. And so this is the unfinished side of the room where it's just like the laundry room and bike storage and my nice little storage wall. And this is the server room / the new water heater. So get some light on in there. That's the new water heater. And there's a little fan. There's my server rack, which I need to take down. So the electrical panel over there is going to need a new wire coming in from the ceiling. So all of that drywall is going to get torn up and a new wire run in, because there's on the other side of this wall behind the water heater, there's a new exterior like inlet for and a box with the shut off and everything. So they're going to run a big wire up into the ceiling, come through down that side and back into the breaker panel there. So all of this needs out of here, so in it, and not make a giant mess over everything. This is theoretically power battery, the AC in, and then these are plugged into those power strips. Giant. I didn't bother making it clean because I knew I'm going to have to redo all this anyway. So all of this is going to come out, and I'm going to put it all back nicer. But yeah, theoretically, if I unplug this, everything would still be running, and I don't know if I want to actually put that to the test. You need to tidy up. Yes, I really do. It will. That's going to happen when I get everything out of there and put it all back. I'm going to put it back cleaner. Promise. I promise. Oh, audio sometimes cutting out. I'm kind of surprised that distance was enough to make the audio cut out. test it, unplug it. Should I? It's the whole internet here. It's like the fiber modem, the routers, everything. Maybe I will. It'll be fun. Why not? What could go wrong? Every streamer's off-camera setup looks just as messy. It's true. New stream helped me replug my server room. I'll need to be streaming on 5G internet while I do that. While I put the internet back together. Okay, should we do it? Should we unplug it? How about tagging and labeling too? Absolutely. So I have some labels in there, but not enough, clearly. Life on the edge. Okay, we're gonna do it. Let's go back and unplug. I guess I have to bring the chat also. Okay, into the closet. I haven't actually tested this yet, so we're gonna see if this works. Okay, so and this thing should support 1500. So here we go. Let's see if I'm still alive after I do this. Input 0. It says 120 minutes. And I am not running on land power anymore. So everything sounds like it's running still. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is still up, otherwise my camera is not going to work. Still outputting 420. I can do this for 2 hours apparently. Mike says it's working. Well, that's good. And back to land power. Is there still a UPS connected to this? No, that is the UPS now. I did not stack them. So that DJI battery is essentially acting as the UPS. That is the, that one is, the DJI Power 1000. And it says it can do 2200 watts continuous. Eric says, I haven't seen a pull plug live in a long time. Agreed. Well, that was less dramatic than I thought it was going to be. Didn't even make any sound, which is nice. I'm pretty sold on those compared to like the regular UPSs. Grish makes a good point. He said, lithium backup, do you discharge it every so often to maintain battery health? I do need to, yeah, I do need to do that. It's been a couple, I think it's been like 2 months maybe since I put that in. So I should do a cycle on it of let it go down to 20% and then charge it back up. So I will do that later today, probably. And I should probably just like put it on my calendar to do that. Because yeah, you're not supposed to keep them at 100 all the time. Andre says, interesting that the switch delay does not mess up your power for computers. So it has a special, like that one in particular is specially built to be a UPS. Some of the other ones, like the Anchor ones, I think don't have that feature. So there will be a little blip, which is enough to kill some of the some things plugged in. But that one is made. It like has a UPS mode in it. Last emergency test was back in 2022. Well, there we go. I feel like APC should be worried. I agree. What's the model? That is the DJI Power 1000. I just dropped the link in the chat. That was, I mean, so that battery is powering the fiber modem, the network switch, which is powering the network switch is powering all of the security cameras and the Wi-Fi access point. It was powering the actual NVR, the recorder for all the cameras. And yes, Aaron spotted the new UNAS 4-disc unit. No, not the 4-disc. That is the so the one on the bottom is the 4-disc NVR, and then the top one that had the 7-bay is the UNAS. And they just released a bunch of new UNASs, and I kind of want to get the 8-bay one now. Impressive that it's 120 minutes with everything plugged into it. I agree. That thing can power a lot for a long time. The big batteries don't tell the servers to power down. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to connect it to the server. But also, I've never been able to get all my servers connected anyway, because there's a USB port on the UPSs, so you can tell one computer to shut down. But I have like 7 servers in there, honestly, the power has gone out enough times where the UPS only lasts 30 minutes or whatever, and then they would just all die, and it's been fine. They come back. Would rather have good old lead acid UPS. Cheaper to swap out the battery at a local supply store every 3 years. Is that how long you're supposed to swap them? That would explain why my UPSs have all died. Because I think some of them I've had for 5 years. Server's next to a water heater. I remember this discussion from years ago. It's fine, as long as the water heater doesn't leak. That's why I replaced it, because that one was 17 years old. So that's what people use network UPS tools for. I should probably go investigate that and set that up. I've just never bothered. Omer says there's not been a power outage for 15 years here, but it should be used for precautions. It was a nice device. 15 years without a power outage? That's impressive. I don't think I've gone a year without a power outage. Thankfully, where in this neighborhood they are they don't last very long, which is nice. So, yeah, cool. Well, that was fun. Little tour of the server room before I take it all apart. So that's my project for next weekend. I'm gonna, I guess on Sunday I'm gonna start by getting all the non-server stuff out, like the shelf with all the paint cans and stuff. So, okay, I need to look into this nut, apparently. I've never bothered to try, but that's clearly the answer. Like this review says, ATEM Software Control V10 is out and changes the settings window for shadow bus, but all grayed out on the 2ME constellation. Oh, I haven't actually installed that yet. I did see that it doesn't actually like have any new features for the Constellation 2ME or 4ME, but there are some changes in the software. What did you say was grayed out? The settings window for the shadow bus. Wait, which version am I on? 963. Should I update live? What could go wrong? I can at least download it right now. Let's go download software 10. What was the one before that? 9.8. So I'm a little bit out of date. I think there wasn't much in here for the Constellation. That's why I didn't bother. Yeah, that's why I haven't bothered. Wow, I'm apparently haven't updated since December last year. Frequent brownouts killed my EcoFlow. Since it died, there's been one outage over the last 2 years. Oh, really? Interesting. I wonder why that killed it. I just realized the chats are still popping up on the GoStream when I click them. That's hilarious. Eric says, I want to do a power plug pull and see how it survives. You should. You should. I guess it's always a good idea to test your UPS, just like it's a good idea to make sure your backup strategies are actually working. That's a thing that I have not finished getting under control either. And I'm a little bit disappointed because I didn't realize what was it? So I was trying to set it up so that this new UNAS, which has 7 bays, which I have my old 6 terabyte drives, so I'm going to eventually upgrade them to like 22 terabyte drives. I want to use that as like the backup of everything. So all of my other, like my smaller Synology things would back up to it. But the Synology can't back up to network storage, which is a bizarre thing to me. So, and the UNAS doesn't run any apps, so I can't do it in the other direction. So I have to, I guess, just do it from a separate computer and like run a backup script on a computer to move files from one network storage to another. Not ideal, but I think that's what it's going to have to be. Or I just abandon Synology forever, which honestly I'm really tempted to, because I'm kind of mad about where they're going. Not like my things are fine, they work fine, but I'm not going to buy a new one. I don't like the locking down to their brand drives or that kind of stuff. So yeah. And Unify just launched all those new size of NAS, so that is exciting. So this one has now a bunch of different models. They have a tiny one with 2 drives, which I honestly feel like is kind of pointless because I don't know. It's like it's a weird device. Also, it's only PoE, which is weird because yeah, I don't want it to get power cycled if the switch updates. So, but you can get a PoE adapter for it to power it continuously. The little 4-bay one makes more sense because at least then you can do like 4 drives in RAID 5. And then the Pro 4 at $500 is interesting. I guess because like this is also $500, right? But the 4-bay one does have the NVMe bays, which can be useful. But honestly, the 8-bay at $800 is a great deal, and it also has NVMe drives for cache, and it has a lot more RAM than the other one. So the where is there? Yeah, 16 gigs of RAM, quad-core ARM, whereas the Pro is only 8 gigs of RAM, slightly slower CPU. So I might get this one and get a bunch of big drives for it and just have this be the backup of backups. I like to have 3 copies of everything, like my working copy, and then a backup, and then a backup of the backup. So yeah, that's the plan. Let Your Nerve Be Here says, I've unfortunately done the pull the plug test several times this summer with the dust storms, monsoons, and lightning storms. Wow, that's a mess. I haven't heard Synology was locking down to their brand drives. That's a huge mistake. I agree. The Synology computer backup and recover was amazing when I reinstalled Windows and had 700 gigs restored within a few hours. That is it's a lot. That's a lot of gigs. Do you think OC could have a market for a simple web graphics device? It would basically be competing with the Raspberry Pi unless it had SDI key fill. I have said for years that somebody should make this device. All it does is internal web browser and then key fill output of the web page. And that's it. Like, it could be a tiny little box. I absolutely think there would be a market for it, especially if it had key fill output. Even if it was competing with a Raspberry Pi, I would probably recommend it over a Raspberry Pi any day. Like, being able to configure the URL, if I can remember where that was, media pool, media player. Being able to configure the URL from a desktop app over the network, and then plug that in, and then if it just had two SDI outs for key fill and an HDMI out for just like a simple version, would be a killer device. It would be, honestly, it would be so smart. It would be like best little tiny utility box ever. And at the price they're making the GoStream, I feel like they can make it for like $150 or $200, because it doesn't need any of the input circuitry. It doesn't need any of, it just needs their little CPU and a couple output ports. Giovanni says, can you have a cold drive that auto configures if there's a drive failure? Yeah, the UNAS supports that feature. It's, I don't know if I can really show it, but because all my drives are busy. But if you go into the storage section, it kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with it up here in this little graphic. So these are all my old drives, which are definitely on their last legs. Some of these are over 5 years old. I have it set up as RAID 6 right now. I always recommend at least RAID 5 or 6, because then you can swap the drives out live. So my plan with this is basically, well, until the UNAS 8 came out, was going to be to upgrade these all to bigger drives one at a time, which I've done with several different devices before. Like I just did a round of that with the Synology NASs. So anyway, but the simple way to do it is this, where it's just like a bunch of drives with, where one of them is the redundancy. RAID 6 gives you two drives can fail and you're still fine. But then it lets you do complicated stuff like this. Like you can say, if you have different size drives, you can say that you have one RAID group of your 16 terabyte drives, then you have other 8 terabyte drives in the NAS, and those can be other RAID groups. You can have a drive assigned as a hot spare. I just have all mine in a very simple configuration right now. But yeah, it does have that kind of stuff, which is cool. Make sure your backups are on different devices, not just different folders. Absolutely, yes. It doesn't count as a backup if it's on a separate folder. No, this is like my laptop has my working files. I have like an external, I have the cloud pod with my YouTube projects. And then those get backed up to a Synology, and the Synology then will back up to the UNAS. That's the idea. And that way there's always 3 copies. Does the UNAS provide software that will back up or store computers on the network? I don't think so, but that's like not that hard to find software. Like Time Machine can back up to, they do have like proper support for Time Machine. So if you have Macs, it'll just back up directly to that. And then otherwise you can just, like my other servers and stuff use rsync to push files around. You can mount this over, you can mount it as either like a regular like Samba share on Mac and Windows, or NFS also. So for Linux, you can turn on NFS and mount it that way. So I have one of my servers has mounted it that way, and it's running a backup right now, and it's taking a very long time. Omer says, I want to take the HDMI out of the camera, convert to an NDI stream via a device, and send it to a switcher on a wireless network. Is there a device that can do this? What about ZoeBox? ZoeBox can definitely do that. That's probably the cheapest way to do it. The other one that can do it is a Pro Convert, Magewell Pro Convert, which is, let's see if I can find a link. Magewell Pro Convert. This one's SDI, where I know I have a HDMI to NDI one in here somewhere. I think it's this one. Nope. Well, I don't have that link. Let's fix that. Where did it go? That's the wrong direction. Here's the plus version. They also have the maybe the non-plus versions are not available or not sold anymore. Let's fix that link. Great. So this is the Magewell HDMI to NDI. You will see that it is significantly more expensive than a YoloBox, and the YoloBox will work. Just different options of like formats and how the web interface works and stuff. Let your neighbor here. It says, since you're backing up to your Synology, this Synology Active Backup is fantastic for keeping multiple versions of files and restoring an older version if needed. Yeah, the other that's the other thing I kind of want to set up with the UNAS is it supports snapshots where it can do like daily snapshots and keep older versions of stuff. And I've never had a backup solution that does that, so I'm interested to try it. I wish Magewell would update the Pro Converts to support the newer NDI formats. YoloBox does support NDI and various flavors of NDI compression. Yeah, the YoloBox is definitely a good little Swiss Army knife at this point. Weird that Blackmagic doesn't yet make such a converter. Which kind? NDI? They're never going to make an NDI devices. It's not going to happen. Just realized I hadn't switched back to the overhead mic. Yeah, cool. Well, we're coming up on the end of this. Let me start getting into the random part of the show. Not that unplugging the whole server rack wasn't random. You probably saw my little pink phone a second ago, and that was a little call-in box I was talking about last week. But I was looking around. I don't remember why. I was like, this device must exist, and it turns out it does, and it's very old. It's called a tone dialer. It's fascinating. We did have a rotary phone when I was growing up, but touch tone phones were already very common at that point. This thing is from 1986, I think it said. I can't remember where I saw that. But it's for rotary phones that didn't have a touch tone keypad, and you would put this up to the microphone, and it would dial tones so that you could go and you could use the newer technology that was coming out of like being able to use menu systems and stuff. It just makes the tones. Here, I'll hold up to the microphone. Doesn't have the A, B, and CD buttons though. It's kind of fun. It was like $10 on eBay, so I was like, that would be cute. The Magewell's over $1,000. It should be like 700. It shouldn't be 1,000. Media Rex had one of those. Wow. I'm impressed. I definitely did not, but did use the actual phones. Princess phone. Yes. It is going to go in the voiceover booth in the house with this collar box, so that if Lily needs to record interviews on the radio, you can actually use like a good mic and get a good recording out of the phone system, and that will just be on the wall. Australia. Oh, 1,000 Australia bucks. Yeah. Blackmagic makes a lot of mistakes in my mind. They should put out the audio they did try to integrate, and Fairlight use a standalone. They do have that Fairlight mixer board, which is fascinating. Very expensive, but looks fun. Anyway, new little fun toy. Man, they really just, the colors of 80s electronics were really just not nice. It's quite the brown. In the college dorms, early 80s, we only had rotary phones. Oh, funny. Okay. Oh, that's hilarious. Um, the when in my dorm we had the network closet was on my floor, and the networking gear in the closet was a 10. Is that right? 10 megabit gigabit. Yeah, 10 megabit network, not a switch. It's just called a hub. It's the one that any packet that comes into any of the ports gets pushed out all the ports. So rather than a switch where the switch knows what device is expecting to get the traffic and only routes the packet to the right output port. Yeah, I think hub is the right word. I haven't thought about that in a long time. But 10 megabit hub, and what it meant is that anybody on in the building, basically your computer interface would be doing the filtering there. So your computer would ignore packets not addressed to it. So instead of the switch doing the filtering, your computer did the filtering, which meant if you ran software on your computer that did not filter it, you could see what everybody in the building was doing. And people were sometimes very surprised at the things that you could find out about them by watching the network traffic on campus. We'll just leave it at that. It was kind of funny to a couple times the whole building would lose internet because it would just like grind to a halt because somebody was transferring a file from one dorm to another, to a friend in another dorm, and it would just saturate everything. And I got good at finding out where they were sending the traffic to and what it was. So then you could be like, oh, well, if it's this kind of thing, it's clearly that person upstairs. And you go knock on their door and be like, hey, shut down your file transfer. You're killing the internet for everybody else in the building. Yeah. Hub, yes. Like a giant splitter, yes. Pot service is still 300 to 3000 hertz. That sounds right, although I don't really know if that's how accurate that is anymore, since there aren't really any telephone lines left for anybody that you're calling. But it's like, because like this phone is plugged into this GoStream interface that provides the analog phone line to it. So that, and then after it leaves the GoStream interface, it's VoIP to the provider, who is then, you're probably going to call somebody on a cell phone, which is a whole different set of frequency ranges and compression algorithms. But either way, it's still better than like recording on your cell phone. With a little programming, you could generate the control tones like the phone freaking of yesteryear. Yep. Yeah, the ABCD buttons, which were on the fourth column, were, I guess, theoretically going to be used for like navigating phone menus and stuff. And then I don't know why it never happened, but it just didn't really end up panning out. And then it got used for control stuff on the phone network instead. So then they don't put them in the handsets. But this kind of stuff is cool because it's just like analog circuitry, and you can do a lot of tweaking with it internally. So kind of fun. Then there were the coax cable networks with terminators. I have never actually seen one of those in operation. Phone, excellent idea and great sound. So the idea is actually, this is like a two-part solution. This is so there's a phone, but you don't actually need the phone for this to work. So the phone is plugged into this box, which is this phone interface, which gives you, so I can unplug this and it still works. So it's got a line. This is plugged into the GoStream interface, and then it's got XLR in and out. And this is, so the idea is this thing will actually pick up the phone, like it'll answer the phone call, or you can, you can send it to auto answer. There's a button there, auto answer. So if I call it, it will actually answer the phone on the line and route the audio in and out of the two XLRs. So it'll give you, if you plug in a microphone into this, or your audio interface, you can send high quality audio into the phone system and get the caller's audio on the XLR out. If you do plug in a phone, then when you pick up the phone, it passes it through to the line, but then you can dial on it. So there's a dial tone, and if I can call my other phone here, which I forget the number of this one. This one is, I think this is set to me right now. Account settings. No, it's set to 204. So if I pick this up, I can dial 204. And then this rings. And now I can talk from this phone to this. And as soon as I press the button on the side here, call, it then transfers it off of the phone. And now it's using the analog input and output from this. So the phone is still on, the call is still going, but now it's routed through this box instead of the phone. And if I hang up, you'll see that it will clicks off, and now it's hung up. So, and then if I call it back, that phone rings, and then this will pick up after one ring, and this auto answered, and now it's routed through the XLR in and out, which is pretty cool. Need to get the wire management under control for that. Dan's Planning says, I once built a touch tone decoder with an Arduino. That's cool. I like the 100 megabit is fast Ethernet. Yeah. You can use the tone device to confuse a telemarketer. I have to go. Sorry, seems like a cross line. That'd be kind of fun. What about your hotline project? Leaving voice message for support. I need to do that still. I need to set up that voicemail box and figure out what the greeting should say. I will say, didn't get a lot of excitement about it after I mentioned it. So I'm not sure how many calls I'll actually get on it, but I still think it'd be fun. I also then need to figure out, I really want, when I play back the call, I want to have like on the side of the screen here, one of those like waveform things, like when they play a phone call on the TV, except I need to, do it live, not pre-recorded. Like there's plenty of plugins for video editing software and stuff to do, to generate those from recordings. So when you're playing them back, then, but I want to do it live so that when I hit play, I can assign the caller's recording audio to whatever is generating that graphic, and then put it on the screen up here. So that's the part I need still for me to be able to play back calls and have them look good on air. Not sure how I'm going to do that. I tried a little bit of vibe coding web app, and it worked okay. Not exactly how I wanted it to, but I might keep pursuing that because it's kind of cool. What is going on in the chat? Oh my gosh. Okay. Your demo of PBX works better than Mark's demo of the Meta glasses. OBS has a plugin for it, but I know that it would be a bit tough to get audio to. It does? OBS, what do you call it? Audio waveform generator plugin. It's the other thing is that I don't want it to. Is this what you're talking about? This might work. I want like that kind of style. I should be able to route audio into OBS for that because it's yeah. What would I'll have to look into that. Probably can't do that live. Do you know when is the ATEM Mini Extreme Gen 2 coming? No, I don't. I haven't seen that ship yet. Do they probably haven't put out any info on that, huh? Let's see if B&H says anything. Still just says coming soon. I'm kind of surprised it isn't shipping now after IBC. You could just fake it. Most of us don't read waveform. No, you don't read it. You inherently recognize whether it's matched or not. It's like lip sync. You would absolutely notice that it's not synced. I believe. I find vibe coding tough as a software dev to get something good from it compared to my non-dev friends' output from it. Really? I wonder what it is about that. I feel like it's like as soon as you know too much, you assume the certain constraints, and if you don't know anything, you don't assume there are any constraints, and you're more willing to like try things that you would never expect that someone who knows more about it would not expect to work. I feel like that's how I've been approaching it, and what I was doing yesterday was I wouldn't necessarily call it vibe coding, but it was like okay, I will tell you what I was doing, but I'm not gonna tell you why. I was trying to generate G code to draw letters. So G code is the like machine language that is used in a bunch of automations like CNC cutters, 3D printers, laser cutters, and pen plotters, and basically anything that has like an X, Y, Z, or more axes can use G code to control the movement of it. So if you want to say like go from there to there, and then lift the pen, and then go to there, and then draw this line, like you can write G code to do all that. I will also say that that kind of programming and that kind of math is my least favorite kind. Like figuring out the coordinate systems and how to translate like, okay, if I'm gonna draw an A, I need to go, up from 0, 0 to 3, 2 down to 0, 3. I probably got that wrong. But if you're trying to draw an A over here, you have to do, offset everything by that. So it's my least favorite kind of math and programming to do. So I was like, what if I just got the computer to do it for me? It probably can. So I said, rather than like trying to do it all in one go and just have it generate everything, I said, write a function to draw the letter A that allows me to provide an input and input offset. And it actually did a pretty good job. And I went letter by letter and went through the whole alphabet and then also numbers 0 through 9. It got most of them pretty good. It did do some like weird jaggy lines for like the B instead of curves. And then I would go and tell it like, no, I want that to be curved instead of straight lines. And it would sometimes do it. I will say it cannot figure out how to do an S. It just does not understand how to make the S shape, no matter how many times I've told it. So I might have to do the math on that one myself. But I got through the alphabet and I can actually now make it draw or generate G code for sentences. So I can say like, give it a whole string and it'll draw it letter by letter. At least it'll give me the G code for it. So the next step is then putting it into a pen plotter to see if that actually works. But why? Hey, you are a channel member, so if you're not in the Discord, you should be, because that's where I went into the detail about why I was doing this, and it will be it'll be fun if I can get it to work. I have some plans. It involves this little robot, which is this is a little plotter that this arm can move like around there and can hold a pen and then or even an iPad pen, and then it will go up and down, and you can have it like go and draw things. So that's what it's for, this little guy. See if I can make this happen. It'll be fun. Yeah, I probably do need to figure out all the curve math, which is even less favorite. Wait, what? Secret squirrel stuff? I'm lost. I don't know what's going on anymore. Okay. Might mean it's time to wrap this up. Yeah, okay. OBS and a PBX interface would be cool. I agree. We're gonna try that. I will, if I do experiment with any of this today / tomorrow, before I have to get back to real life, I will be posting about it in the Discord. So if you are a channel member, then make sure you've found the link to the Discord down below and join so that you can see what's going on. Yes, this is what I've been doing at 8 p.m. before I'm trying to before going to sleep, playing around with G-code in with AI tools. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. This is devolved into chaos now. But hey, that was a fun test of the UPS. So yeah. What am I doing in Vegas? Work conference. Big, huge deal. Like, you know, the kind of conference that we've spent the whole year planning for. New product announcements, all sorts of stuff. I'm on 2 panels. I've been spending the last several days and nights just reviewing all the keynote scripts from the different keynotes, and hopefully it all comes together. So I'll be in and out as quickly as I can because I don't like Vegas very much and don't want to spend any more time there than I have to. So I'll be back Friday, and then we'll start tearing out the server room. I will time lapse it somehow. Figure out where I can put a camera to time lapse it, especially when I get to the networking gear, because that's gonna be an adventure. Offline for 2 days, which is essentially what it's going to take. So I might have to just move some of it in here and maybe some of it in the new network closet, which should only lose power for a couple hours when they do the cutover. So a couple hours is fine. 2 days of it not running is not ideal. Vegas does have good food and some fantastic shows. That is true. I don't like how far you have to go for the good food. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up and start the credits. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks to the extreme supporters, Tom, Larry, Andre, Kevin, and Marcin. And thanks to all the other channel members for your support. Again, find the Discord link in the member section below. And we will see you on Discord. And yeah, we'll be back same time next week. Although if you are a member, there is a scheduled live stream for Saturday for channel members. I think it's an hour earlier than my normal time. I'm going to go through 6 months of accounting for this channel and figure out how much money I've spent and made and where it's gone. I'm gonna do all that live, so it'll be an adventure. I don't know how long it's gonna take. So that'll be Saturday, and then Sunday on the Sunday back on schedule for the regular show, and we'll see how much I've disassembled of that closet by then. I don't know what that will be. So we will see you then. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.